Hello. So today is kind of a sequel to last week. Last week I did what did I do? Cheese and wild garlic scone. Today, so that was the green one. Today I'm going to do the red one. I'm doing a chili and paprika one. So I've only had to do a little bit of prep. I've literally weighed out 3 ingredients. The rest I'm going to do by feel. So yeah. So we're going to start off by ingredients. I've got 225 grams of flour, bit of salt, bit of baking powder, baking powder's gone lumpy. That's fine. I was hoping to speed on this, but paprika for a nice smokiness and hopefully to give us the redness we want, or the redness I want. I want it to be dominating, but I'm going to actually add a bit of powdered garlic because I do think it'll help balance the flavours a bit. Again, I'm not measuring, just doing it by feel, whatever falls out the packet, almost. And the chili flakes. Now, I want to bite, but I don't want it to be burning out the pot here. So I'll put in maybe a teaspoon and a half of that. Okay, give it a quick mix. Just to spread it out a bit. Butter, 50 grams in. Basically, I'm just going to get in there with my hands, and I'm going to turn this into breadcrumbs. Basically, get out of there. Just use your fingers like this, and you smother it in. You smoosh it in. Obviously, clean your hands before you do this. I certainly did. So I'm going to keep doing this. I'll cut this out of the video, but this will only take us a couple of minutes. You don't want to see this in real time. Okay, so that's been about 2 minutes, and you can see it's all together now. There's no lumps. If there was the odd lump, it wouldn't be the end of the world. The next stage, we'll grate a cheese here. Now I've grated 135 grams. You know, it was I wanted about 100 grams for this, plus some for the topping. It's not an exact science, so it's just whatever. If you want more cheese, put more cheese in. So save a little bit for the topping at the end. Then I'm going to do the same. Going to just mix this together a bit. I want it so it's a mix of some of the cheese is like being integrated with the butter and things, and some of the cheese just to be little flavoury bits. Okay. Next, liquids. I've got a beaten egg. I used a medium egg. I don't think it really makes much difference. And a bit of milk. This is just to form a dough. I can always add more milk. I don't want to be in the position of adding more flour. So, again, I'm just going to get my hands in. I mean, you could use, obviously, a food processor or something like that if you wanted, but I like to get my hands involved. So, again, I'm going to mix this into a dough. I'm going to probably cut out the camera until then, and we'll be back shortly.
Okay, we have the now almost forgotten about mic failure, and it's a mic failure for the rest of the video. But anywho, you can see that I formed a dough, a giant dough, whatever. So what we need to do is get this into smaller amounts. Now, we could obviously just throw it in as one giant scone. That could be an experiment for the future, but that's not what we're going to do today. So I've just popped a bit of flour down. I really need to get better at doing that because that's way too much. because we don't want this sticking, basically. Now, I'm just going to flatten this by hand. Now, being realistic, you could use a rolling pin, but that's just more washing up, really. So yeah, so you can see I'm just putting a bit of force into it, and it's holding together really well. So I guess that means it's going to be dense. I don't know, but this is fine. So I'm just what am I doing? So much harder to do commentary after the fact because you just can't see what you're doing. So I'm just being very tactile with it. So what I'm using is an old glass ramekin. These are the ones you get from get little desserts in, and you just put a bit of force on, and they come out almost perfect. So you can see it's perfectly round. The same happened last week with the wild garlic ones. They just didn't look they looked a bit raggy because of the bits of wild garlic in. So I'm going to do this as many times as needed. Um, you can see there I managed to get, how many did I get? 11. So I managed to get 11 of them out. 10 of them are just off the door, just using the ramekin. The final one I just flattened by hand. So now, as with any good cheese scone, we need to put a little bit of cheese on top. So I am using the same bowl as I had the egg in earlier. I've dropped a little bit of milk in, and I've formed a kind of an egg wash on it. Most recipes I've seen, you just use milk. But once it's been done, effectively we can use the milk egg mixture to have the cheese stuck on, to stick the cheese on, I should say. So I'll do the rest off camera, and here's our end result. This is cooked for, I think it was 14 minutes at about 220. They've all come out reasonably nice. They've all come out reasonably small. There's no real lift in them, but I kind of intended it this way. I want these to be almost a light bite, and these are probably only about 125 calories each. So I'm just trying it without any butter. You can see I've got the butter ready there. Now, first bite, I thought I'd failed here. Not a lot was coming through flavour-wise, um, but it's a growing heat, let's say. So by the time I'm putting on the butter, the heat was starting to hit us. So putting the butter onto the hot scone effectively already makes a kind of a chili butter, which is quite tasty. Obviously, if you do it cold, well, the butter will just stay as butter. It'll act as a kind of a cooler, but the butter does make a big difference here. Obviously, it's adding a few more calories, a bit more fat, but it's fine. It's a bit of an indulgence, and it makes it the heat builds here. So I think if these scones had been any bigger, they would almost be unmanageable. Now I had 2 of these last night when I made this, but I do quite like spicy food. So if you like these, like, subscribe, follow me page, uh, and I'll do more like this. Because with the idea behind this, I think, is if you're going to have small amounts of food, make it punchy, make it tasty. You want it to, you want to use your calories on something nice. Um, so yeah, so this is an easy to follow recipe. If you don't like super spicy, just use less chili. I eyeballed it. It was probably too much for the majority of people. I have took some of these into work, and I was told it was nice but spicy. And of course, if you like pain, feel free to add a great big more of the spice. So I'm finishing. Do I finish that off? Not on camera. I think I'll finish it off afterwards. So yeah. So if you, as I said before, if you enjoyed what you see, give us a like, give us a comment, tell us what you'd put in your scones, tell us what you would have done different.